Okay, so now let's look at the next part of the equation. Tai Gong, keep your back straight. Underlying an overall level of consciousness, being the person that he was. And now the next component is to use no force. So if we're not going to use any force, right? If we're not going to come from the levels of force, that means we have to use something different. We have to not use forceful movement, not use forceful thinking, not use forceful feeling, be forceless, so to speak. You know, and that is a really big part of internal Kung Fu development. And it's also a big part of having a joyful life, that you're not forcing things and stressing out and you know, getting into that whole grind set culture where you have to push and grind and hustle. And sure, I love work, and Kung Fu actually means hard work in translation, but the difference is how you approach that hard work. So for example, you know, I'm up at 6 a.m. and I'm training by later 7, and I'm in bed at like 11, and I'm training until 10 and teaching throughout the day. And people tell me, you know, oh, you work so hard. Oh, wow, you're always grinding. And it might look like that, sure, because I train a lot, but I'm not in a forceful condition. Sure, throughout the day, I do get off balance at times, but I take a minute to just relax, release, sit down, meditate, have a cup of tea, have a cup of coffee, talk to a friend, just relax, release, take some deep breaths, go for a walk, to get back into alignment, to get back into my sense of power. So it may look like on the surface that I'm forcing things, but to be honest with you, I'm just aligning myself with my innate power, my potential, my spiritual intention, and the vision for my life, right? So the reason I bring that up is because in order to be forceless, like the use no force concept, we need to align ourselves with that which is not force, that which is power. Now, if we're using our physical body, right, as our expression in Kung Fu, yeah, as the way that we actually, you know, when we do come into contact, when we do our chi sao, or if we're doing whatever technique we're doing our kicking, or if we're doing striking, or if we're whatever technique you're doing, you're using your physical body to express it, right? But the idea is that you want it to be forceless or effortless. And this can be a bit of a dubious topic, because it's like, if I'm not using force, then what the fuck am I using? Once again, power. So to answer that question of using no force, we have to go above or beyond the physical body. In the sense, look, the physical body is still obviously a part of it, because once again we said physical, energetic, emotional, mental, spiritual, but all the same thing, right? So it's like you have these 5 bodies all in one, so to speak, as a way of thinking about it, or potentially as a reality. Now, moving into the layers beyond force is moving into power, and that which isn't forceful, or that which has the potential to be powerful, is the energetic body, the space, the frequency, vibration, and the mind itself, meaning the level of intent and the frequency of mind. The frequency of thought, not necessarily the best word, because that can be a bit tense at times, but we're moving beyond the forceful. So to make it very simple for you, you want to move out of force and into power. And power is in alignment with the mind and with energy. And even beyond that, with spirit. Now, these can be a bit ephemeral or a bit, you know, ambiguous terms, but you can all understand the concept of energy, right? You need energy to power lights. You need energy to drive your car. You need energy to move your body. So there's energy, right? And the mind we can understand as well. You can think, you know, there are thoughts and there are emotions which we know are linked to the mind concept of Nim, right? And then there's spirit, you know, and some people say, oh, spirit, there's no such thing. I'm just a physical body, and once I die, it's over, and that's fine. I don't really give a shit what you think. But spirit is linked to our higher nature, so to speak. You know, when you feel in alignment, when you feel at one, when you feel whole, when you feel a sense of upliftment and connection to things. You know, you feel like a sense of, you know, your spirit being awakened, right? That's why we term the highest intention one's spiritual intention, about your alignment with, you know, life itself. Now, coming back to it. If we want to use no force, we need to align with those higher qualities of ourself, the energy, the mind, the spirit. So what we do is we start to align ourselves with those qualities of the energetic body. Perhaps Nu might put a picture of the energy body in here somewhere so you can see that. Now, Nu's our videographer, he's the man, so credit to him for all this great content. Thank you, Nu, we love you. We love you, Nu! He's laughing, guys. If you could see that handsome face, you'd be smiling like me. Now, coming back to it. Aligning yourself with the levels of power, alignment with your energy body, alignment with your space and vibration, alignment with intention and the mind, alignment with even your spiritual nature, if inclined so, meaning you don't have to believe in spiritual work to be aware of your space and your energy. You don't have to believe in spiritual work to know that you have a mind. So you can start to approach the levels of power in whichever type of belief structure you have, because it's quite common sense that you have a mind and you have energy. Now, the different forms of power that we use within the energy body start off with sensing and syncing. Sensing is the foundation, so I'm going to focus on that more so. So going into the no force is about sensing your actual space, yeah? Alignment with the space, alignment with the vibration, sensing the space that your body occupies, right? So that's pretty much essentially it. It's moving into the power of the energy that exists within you, that is partially you. The energy that flows through you is you. You are expressing that energy day to day in a creative way. Whether it's creative or destructive, destructively creative, so to speak, is up to you, right? So the point is that it becomes a point of alignment with that power that is within you, because it is you. You are that space. You are that energy. You are the alignment with your intention that you express through you, right? So the foundation for that is the sensing. The syncing is also a part of it. So it's sensing the space that the body occupies, sensing the energetic body, sensing the etheric double, as termed by the researchers of truth, sensing the space, as Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it. He calls it the space. Sensing the frequency and the vibration. Call it whatever you want. I don't really care. The point is that you gain the experience of it. You could call it pina colada if you want, but people might get confused, right? I don't really mind at all. What you want to do is just start to gain the experience of actually being conscious of sensing your space. Now, the benefits of this, you'll probably already, if you've been following my content for a while, you'll probably have gone through it in the step-by-step curriculum or in other lessons, where the sensing of space activates absorption. So if Carlson is facing me and he has up his guard, for example, and he senses his whole body, right? He's just conscious in his space. Then when I put pressure on his body, he can absorb that pressure into his stance. Whereas if he consciously puts his attention outside over there for me, for example, and he doesn't have a sensing on his body, it's going to be very easy for me to start to disrupt his power because he's not conscious in his body. So he senses his body again, he's present to the space in his body, and now as I put pressure in, I feel it absorbs into his actual space easier. So from a martial perspective, sensing already multiplies your power. Simple as that. Because you're no longer either A, absent from your space because you're daydreaming about shit, B, you're not just focused on the physicality. So even just focusing on the physicality helps. Like, you're going to have a better absorption if you focus on just feeling your structure and your muscles. That actually helps. But when you sense the space, it's like you create much more of a pathway for actual force to come into your body. You become more full. So sensing your space empowers your Kung Fu from an absorption level. And then further to that, it empowers you on a life level. Because when you're present to yourself through sensing, because the sensing of your space cannot be yesterday or tomorrow. It can only be here, because your energy body is here. Your physical body is here in the moment. So when you start to sense it, and we've all heard so much about be in the moment, be in the now, be present. Yeah, man. The point is that as you sense your body, it automatically makes you present. Because your energy body and your space can't not be present. So when you are present, you're not daydreaming about the worries and the fears and the problems of the past and the obstacles, the problems and the doubts of the future. You're just here, where you can actually influence your condition. The next part to that is on a personal and self-improvement perspective, is that when you're present to your space, and we've spoken about this in prior lessons, but I'll say it again because it's important, you can notice the emotions that arise from within you, and you can notice the energies that come from others and around you. So the analogy we use is that there's a door here behind us, and Carlson and I are bouncers. Carlson looks like a bouncer, right? Because he's always like, I'm serious because I'm a police officer, right? You were a security guard, weren't you?
I was.
He was a security guard.
Not a bouncer though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're bouncers at a door. All right, mate, come inside. Sorry, wear some shoes. Stop wearing thongs to this club, mate. Anyway, the point is that as we are at the door, we are the bouncers of this door. If you try to get in here, we can decide yes or no, right? Because we're here. But if we are not here, so we are no longer there. Now, anybody can go in that door. Hello, I'm anybody. I'm coming in this door. Get the point? So what I'm trying to say is that if no one's present at the doors of your energetic space, if you're not here sensing this, it's much easier for upset emotions from your own subconscious and upset emotions from others to penetrate that space. For example, you might be at work, doing your thing. You're probably listening to techno as well. So you're sitting at work doing your thing, maybe not listening to techno, you're just doing your work. This is a keyboard, by the way. Someone walks behind you. They're stressed out and anxious. That's what their vibration is. And then you're sitting there all innocent doing your work, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm starting to feel a bit stressed. I'm starting to feel a bit anxious. And you're like, why am I feeling anxious? You don't even know. You're like, oh shit, maybe I drank too much coffee, or maybe it's because my grandma farted on my face, or whatever, right? You come up with reasons as to why you feel stressed, not realizing that it was from that person that walked behind you and you weren't present to yourself. So, firstly, sensing makes you more powerful for combat. You're present, you're aware, which also makes you able to react better because you're here, not in the future or the past. Secondly, it's good on your daily life basis because you're just more present and more conscious of what's happening in the energetic or the frequency of life, your internal frequency and the frequency of the things around you, so to speak. So that is the sensing energy. That is one of the gateways to internal power that we want to be using in our Kung Fu practice. Now, one little story to add to that. When I first moved to Hong Kong, the first question I ever asked my master was about this exact thing. So we were all there doing our form, doing our Silim Tao, and my master comes up to me, right? And I'm doing Tan Sao, and he grabs my shoulder with both hands, and he kind of like rips it back like this, and I'm like, holy shit, what the hell is he doing, right? And the reason being is because I was tense, obviously, and I'd been doing a lot of Chi Sao, like I'm doing tons of it. All we did was Chi Sao all day. And so I'd obviously built up a lot of tension, not performing it correctly, that is. So he was ripping, not just mine, but like pretty much everyone's shoulders back. And then from this space, which felt terrible in other areas, he'd then get us to move and be like, yeah, and then we'd do it powerfully, like, oh shit, that really works. So I asked him, I said, so when I asked the translator to ask him because, he pulled my shoulder back and put it there. So when you do this, should I just, concentrate on feeling this to like, help it relax? And he was like, like, no. Looked at me like an idiot as usual. He said, no. He said, always feel the whole body. I'll say it again. Always feel the whole body. Now, let's get specific with that. Essentially, what I believe he meant is always sense the space, always align with the energy. Because remember, he was teaching mind force. He was teaching how to use energy, right? He would say, I send my energy to him, right? Or I send my chi to him. So his objective was to get us to the mind force level, which was the mental and energetic power, right? So, always feeling the whole body is always being conscious to the space you exist in. So, I hope that gave you some food for thought and help you to start thinking about that on a day-to-day basis. Any questions, put them in the community, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.